and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today in this video, I'm going to be talking all about my favorite novellas. I love all romance, historical romance, contemporary romance, but I specifically love novellas. I just love a quick, short, steamy, fun story. They're one of my favorite things. I do tend to read a lot of novellas, and to be honest, most of these novellas are just fun and steamy. I normally read these when I'm in a reading slump. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of historical novellas. I feel like a lot of historical romance novellas typically are associated with series. Like they're usually like spin-offs with different characters, or sometimes they'll come out with a Christmas novella. If you have any short historical romance novellas that are standalones and not a part of a series, let me know. Then when I am talking about novellas and short stories, I'm talking about anything under 200 pages. Some of these are really short, like 60 to 80 pages, but other are more closer to that 200 mark. Anything under 200 pages and is not a full-length novel is what I'm including in this video. But I have a ton to talk about. I think I have like 10 books to talk about, so let's just hop right in. Very first novella that I want to talk about probably comes by absolutely no surprise, and that is Go Deep by Risley Adams. I have hyped this book up so much on my channel. It has one of my absolute favorite tropes, and that is friends to lovers. This is everything that I could ever want in a novella. Like, the writing was perfect, the chemistry was perfect. Take anything from this video, read this book right here. That's why it's my first recommendation. In this book, our main character is an erotica writer, and she's feeling uninspired. She's in a bit of a writer slump. She got dumped by her boyfriend, and she just doesn't have much inspiration to write. So she ends up propositioning her best friend to hook up with her to gain some inspiration for her novels. Characters grew up together, so they have known each other their entire life, and that really shows in the novella. A good novella is a complete novella, so it doesn't feel like it needs to have more pages. Obviously, there can be a plot. I know a lot of people don't like it when like banging is the plot, but I mean, in steamy novellas, that's kind of what it is. A good novella does have a plot, it has good chemistry with the characters, and it doesn't feel rushed, and this book was 10 out of 10. Would recommend. It had all of that. I have a lot of friends to lovers recommendations in this video. That's just my favorite trope, so sorry if it seems redundant, but I'm going to recommend a few more friends to lovers tropes if you don't mind. So the next one is Truth or Dare by Daniel Allen. Ever since I read this book, I have managed to talk about it in every single video that I film, just because it has become my favorite book of the year. I know it's kind of early to say that because we're only in February, but I think this is my favorite book of the year. It is a little longer. It is 174 pages, so you get a little bit more time with our characters, which is very nice. So this follows our main characters, Kingston and Simone, who have been friends since college. They have a big group of friends that have all been friends. Some of them have dated in the group, but there is a rule that they can't just casually hook up. They can't do anything that will ruin the friend group. So years later, they're in their 30s, and they're meeting back up because their best friends are getting married. They're all kind of reminiscing one night, and they end up playing Truth or Dare. Our characters get dared to kiss each other, and boom, instant attraction happens. They're definitely confused because they've never had that type of attraction with each other before, and obviously they don't want to ruin their friendship, but it follows the romance. And my favorite thing about this book was their friendship and the banter between the characters. This book was so humorous, and you could honestly tell like our characters respected each other so much, because the base of the relationship was the fact that they were friends. Made everything so much sweeter and steamier and sexier. This book was super sex positive and body positive, which I adored, and I just loved all of Daniel Allen's writing, to be completely honest. If you want to read some more books from her, I would highly recommend Heartless. I don't know if that's a novella. I can't remember how many pages it is. I got through that book in like one sitting though, so it's not that long. Heartless is actually a surprise pregnancy trope, which you guys know I'm not a fan of. I filmed a whole video on this, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's a surprise pregnancy trope. Our main character, Easy, is a player, a womanizer. He definitely doesn't sleep with the same girl twice. So one late night, Easy gets a text message, and he's thinking it's a booty call, and it's actually our main character telling him that she's pregnant. Figure out not only how to co-parent, but also how to figure out how to be in a relationship with each other and explore the attraction they have for each other. I think this was so well done, and again, the banter in this book and between our characters was amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. The book I want to talk about is Party Favors, and this is the 4th book in the Over the Holiday series. I read this series out of order, and I was fine, but if you want to read the series in order, I have read those books, and they are also really amazing. But my favorite was the 4th book, 168 pages, and it is a sapphic romance. It follows our main characters, Amanda and Ren, who actually became best friends online. They bonded over vintage fashion, and they would DM each other and text each other, and they formed this friendship over the years. Year's. It takes place during New Year's, so New Year's they decide that they are finally going to meet in person and they are going to spend the New Year's together. Obviously, they were already best friends and they expected to have a fun time with each other when they met up, but they did not expect the intense attraction they would have when they saw each other in person. I think in this book, both of the girls are openly bisexual, so they decide to explore the attraction with one another. They also have like a bunch of New Year's resolutions and checklists that they decide to do together. It's really fun. It's really steamy. Honestly, I loved them together. They were the cutest couple. Like, I found myself smiling throughout the entire book, so I highly recommend it. That one is really, really steamy though. Honestly, all of these recommendations are, so if you're not into steamy books, I don't know what to tell you. Some other novellas that I want to mention are from Jessa Kane. Jessa Kane is a very popular novella author, and you know what? She's very hit or miss for me. I either give her books like a 1-star or like a 5-star. There is no in between with her. Some of her older books are a little wild, a little too wild for me. But recently she has been coming out with a bunch of novellas that I really, really like. They feature curvy heroines and thick heroes, and I love it. So let me just talk about 2, but honestly, I could do a whole video on Jessa Kane because I have read almost every single novella she has come out with, and I have liked quite a bit. Again, some of her earlier releases are a little too wild for me. First one that is just my all-time favorite is Hefty. This one is pretty short. I think it's like 70 pages or something like that. This one is a brother's best friend trope. So our hero is a football player and our heroine is a cheerleader. Our hero is one of those cinnamon rolls that is just like a gentle giant. He's very insecure and shy, but our heroine has always had a crush on him. They have just been crushing on each other, but they never wanted to ruin their friendship, but they decide to explore their attraction with one another. They're both inexperienced, they're both virgins, and they decide to just hook up. Like I said, our hero is a thick hero, and he just is totally gone for our heroine from like page 1, and I just loved their relationship. It does feature younger characters, though. They're both at the end of high school. Everything is consensual, though, and it's very sweet, but I just want you guys to know that going in. Some people don't like reading about younger characters, and I mean, I get it, but I really did like this novella. Next one I want to mention from Jessa Kane is Husky. Our heroine is a fashion designer, and she meets our hero in a bar. I think he owns the bar, but anyways, our hero at that bar, and she immediately knows that he is perfect for like this upcoming assignment that she has to do. She's been lacking inspiration, and she has to design some clothes for a fashion show, and she immediately wants to create like a plus size line when she sees our hero. She ends up convincing our hero to model for her, and then obviously they have an intense attraction to each other. Okay, let's talk about a paranormal novella. My next recommendation is Sanctuary by Alexandria House. This is a second chance romance. Our characters were childhood sweethearts, but all of a sudden our hero kind of just disappears. End up spending one magical night together at prom, and then he is gone. She doesn't hear from him. She doesn't know what happened. He just disappears. Heroine has always pined for him, but she had to move on. But years later, he is back, and he explains the reason that he was gone was actually, this is where the paranormal element comes in. He is actually a king of an ancient African tribe. There are some supernatural elements to this, and I just really loved the story. It was very unique. It was very well done. It's a novella, but our author packed in so much world building and background and chemistry between our characters. This book was really a book about soulmates, and I just loved the connection our characters had, so I highly recommend this one as well. Okay, next up, let's talk about like a polyamorous open marriage type of novella. Is that cool with you guys? Okay, so I want to talk about Neighborly by Katrina Jackson. This book is about 127 pages, and it is the second book in the erotic accommodation series. I never read the first book in this series, so you can definitely read it as a standalone. Those are main characters, Heaven and Calvin. They are taking the next step in their relationship, and they are actually moving in together. As they move in together and Heaven meets their neighbors, she feels an instant attraction to her neighbor's wife. There is absolutely no cheating in this book. The attraction is reciprocated, and the neighbors have an open marriage. So both couples are super supportive, and they end up agreeing to explore the attraction with each other. And it follows the 4 of them having like a polyamorous open marriage situation. Mainly it is the 2 girls who are initially attracted to each other, but it does follow all of them. Loved the communication in this book. Our characters were so supportive of each other. It is super sex positive and body positive and just so steamy, like So steamy. The next novella I want to talk about is Lumberjack by Jenica Snow, and this is the first book in the romance series, but you totally can read it as a standalone. So our main character Jake lives in a cabin away from everyone. He's definitely like the quiet, reserved type. Our heroine Vivian lives in the city, but she wants a break, so she ends up renting a cabin. There's a storm though, so she ends up getting lost and stumbling upon Jake's cabin. There's a close proximity trope in this as well. Because the storm, she can't leave, so she ends up staying the night at his cabin, and romance ensues. I believe this also has an age gap in it, so it's just a real fun time. Jenica Snow writes a lot of really good novellas and romances. There is another novella that I really liked from her. I think it's called Fluff, and that is a friends to lovers romance. Our hero is a soft, sweet cinnamon roll who has always pined after his best friend. I think he's even a virgin in that book. I can't remember. And then our heroine is a curvy heroine. So that's a good one too. I totally forgot to mention that one. The last two novellas I want to recommend are from Lucy Eden. The first one is Resolutions, and this is a friends to lovers romance. It takes place during the holidays and the New Year's, but you don't have to read it during that time. You can read it anytime, to be completely honest. So in this one, our heroine has always had a crush on her best friend, but obviously she doesn't want to ruin her friendship. That's how it always goes. Here before, she ended up making a bucket list of all types of different things that she wanted to do. It comes to the end of the year and she hasn't completed her list. Her best friend finds out about it and decides to help her check off all of the boxes on the list. Really fun and really sweet, and I think Lucy Eden is such an amazing writer when it comes to novellas. Like, I highly recommend her books. Another one I quickly want to mention is Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend. This one is like my perfect novella. I feel like it's every book lover's fantasy. Our heroine is at the bookstore and meets our hero who reads romance. Can I get a man who reads some romance? In this book, they have an adorable meet cute in the bookstore, and they end up going on dates after and spending the entire day together. This is a very short novella, but it's very sweet and very steamy and very amazing. Those were just some of my favorite novellas. I honestly could do a part 2 to this video because I just read so many novellas and there are so many good ones out there. Overall though, some of my favorite authors that I feel like you just can't go wrong with when it comes to their novellas are Lucy Eden, Jessica Cain, Daniel Allen, Risley Adams. Such amazing authors, truly. Like, if you have any novellas that I didn't mention in this video, please leave them in the comments down below. I would absolutely love to read them. Maybe I'll film a reading vlog on them. Yeah, maybe I'll film a reading vlog on your guys' recommendations. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.